Hi, and welcome to Filmmakers Compass Podcast, a show where we talk about movies and World War movies. I'm D-Man, joined by CP, and CP, I love your sunglasses today.
Well, I'm glad, but what I love is USA, USA, USA.
Winter Olympics are here, and we're going to talk about it. So,
yes, sir.
I'm pretty pumped, and I also like your shirt. You're rocking some real USA-themed stuff for the Olympics. Pretty exciting.
I am, D-Man.
All right. Well, before we get into our topics today, we do got to jump into our shout outs. So I'm excited because we have a comment from Ivor, which might be my favorite comment of all time.
Ooh.
So Ivor states, I always thought that Disney could have a theme park of only Star Wars, which is like the dream. That is amazing. And he goes on to say, like, they could do Asteroid Belt and Trench Run roller coasters. Dude, I don't know why they didn't do a Trench Run roller coaster is beyond. That would be so sick. He said dark rides could be Hoth Caves or an adventure through a Jawa like tank or whatever. What do they call them? Sandcrawler?
Sandcrawler? Yeah.
Like all the droids and oh my God. I was like, dude, this is so cool. And he goes, restaurants could be high-end sitting on Coruscant or the low-end burger stand on the dusty streets of Mos Eisley. There is so much story and settings. And I was like, that comment got me so fired up. I was like, if they made that theme park, I would go. Like if they made it in Tokyo, I would go to Tokyo. Like, would you do that? We're talking original Star Wars. I mean, I know he threw out like Coruscant. So let's just condense it to the original 6, but mostly OG trilogy. Would you? I would pay a lot of money.
The funny thing is this: you're talking to us and speaking like this is some massive revelation. Like we didn't know Dustin would sell all his belongings to go anywhere on the planet to go to Star Wars land. Of course he would. I mean, I would. I think it would be cool.
I don't know. Like if you think about it, okay, you ride the Star Tours ride, and they used to have the Death Star Trench Run. But imagine if you were on a roller coaster. I mean, that would be so nuts. And then like at times, like the roller coaster, you might have like images or things of different ships and like lasers blasting past you. And then at some points, like you come out of the trench and like the roller coaster goes up and you go into the stars. Oh my God.
I mean, I know. Think about it. You could do like a speeder bike chase through like Endor.
And then I don't know how they would do an explosion at the end of the roller coaster because you blew up the Death Star. But if they came up with something so dope, I mean, I don't even know what you could do, but it would be so awesome.
Yeah.
Disney, I hope you're listening. New CEO. What is his name? Josh D'Amaro.
Yeah.
I hope you're listening, man.
Just tweet him. Just tweet him.
This is awesome. So
I mean, it would be cool. And what would be cool about that is if you did it as its own land, like Star Wars land. Right. Mm-hmm. You could theme everything correctly.
Dude, it would literally be like, remember when we were kids, we would play with our Star Wars action figures like in the basement. And we would set up one area over here was like Tatooine and one area over here was Hoth. One was the Death Star and one was Coruscant or something. You know, of course, we're making buildings out of like, you know, the Ghostbusters building toy or something. But, you know, it felt like Coruscant. But I'm saying like you could literally, you think of like the theme park lands. You have Tomorrowland, Fantasyland, you know, Frontierland and whatever. I'm like, you could pick like 4 or 5 Star Wars settings, make incredible theming. And then you would have ideas for rides. Like I even thought of ride, like after Ivor said that, I thought a ride that would be cool would be like, you know, in Attack of the Clones, like when they're on Coruscant and they're chasing the bounty hunter. Like through the traffic, you could do like a Star Tours version of that.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I mean, and what's really cool is if Star Wars was smart, well, not Star Wars. Star Wars is smart. If Disney was smart, right? And they leaned into all the existing Star Wars IP, right? All the stuff that became legends. Yeah. Like then think about what you could really do. Then as you're doing a Hoth ride, right? You could reference Shadows of the Empire, right? Which also takes place on Hoth. And you could so there's more than just like, oh, this little segment that's from the movie. There's a lot of cool stuff you could do.
incredible. Like I don't know. Like, I know we talked about this on podcasts like probably a year ago, but it's been a year. So have you ever been on Rise of the Resistance, the ride at Disney?
No, because I hate Disney.
I am telling you, that ride is so freaking awesome. And if you could take even like fractions of that energy and then just blow it up for a whole theme park, I mean, wow. I don't know. You heard about Disney doing that whole hotel experience?
Yeah.
And it like failed miserably.
Well,
like,
yeah, because you're charging people like $3,000 a night.
Yeah, don't do the hotel. Do like a theme park. That's what you're good at.
Yeah.
I don't know. Thanks, Ivor. That was awesome.
No, you're totally right. It would be a ton of fun. I'm glad that was the greatest thing in the history of this podcast. You imagining Star Wars land.
Well, speaking of the greatest things in the history of this podcast, next up we have Eric Drucker. So, Drucker, I'm excited to read your comment because he wanted to give his thoughts on the new Disney CEO. So he said, curious what the new CEO does. I'm hopeful that prices will go down in the parks, but I don't have high hopes. And I agree with you there. It's very rare that prices go down on anything, like ever. It's like the market tests what you're willing to pay. And then as soon as like they hit a threshold, they just stop, but they never like take it back. They're never like, hey, listen.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. My grandpa talks about when gasoline used to be 11 cents a gallon.
Yeah,
never going back to that.
It's ironic you say that though, because overall, like the trend is like gas prices have gone up forever, but gas prices actually do go up and down. Gas and eggs, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, it goes. So we will see. I do wonder if people use AI for movies and stuff. Does that make ticket prices go down? Theaters are stupid expensive now. CP, we didn't talk about that. If AI were to democratize movie making, and here we are talking about prices going down again. Drucker, I hope Colorado's treating you okay. Because it sounds like, you might need a couple extra nickels. But anyway, I'm just saying, if AI were sort of to democratize visual effects and it became incredibly inexpensive to produce media, would you expect that movies would be cheaper?
No.
So they would just pad their profit margins.
Yeah. Think about it this way. If a Disney Marvel film, when Avengers, what's the new Avengers movie coming out?
Doomsday.
When Avengers Doomsday comes out and it's going to cost $250-300 million to make, right?
Yeah.
Or the next A24 film, which was produced for $3.5 million. It's not like A24 comes to the theaters and says, hey, look, we only made this for $3.5 million, so we can make way less money. So why don't you charge people $350 to go see this movie? Like, no one does that.
Maybe they should do that. Like movie theaters could use like dynamic pricing based on.
I mean, it would be interesting. I know there was talk of, I think Regal at one point was considering dynamic pricing based on like the demand of the movie and the time that people were going. But the big thing is this, right? The deals that studios have negotiated with theaters is essentially limiting all the profit to the theaters for the first three or to the studios for the first 3 weekends. So the only way ticket prices go down is when truly competitive indie producers can start coming in and renegotiating those deals with theaters to be like, look, like we don't care, show the movie for $4.
I mean, that would be interesting. Speaking of dynamic pricing, I don't know if you heard, but apparently Wendy's is struggling and they might lose their number 2 spot behind McDonald's to Burger King again. And I guess part of the reason is that the CEO had talked about doing dynamic pricing for Wendy's menu, which is crazy because I'm assuming the way it would be pitched to the consumer is like, here's the price of everything, right? Just like it is now. But like during like slow hours, they're like, oh, you could get great deals, right? So they're pitching it as like, hey, we're going to hook you up when nobody's coming. But all consumers saw was that I have to pay more at peak hours.
Yeah.
And so it was like it totally backfired on them.
Well, and I think, and you're right, that's a marketing thing, right? If they'd come out and been like, "Yo, there's now like Wendy's happy hours or the coupon
Exactly. That's what
zone,"
I'm saying. And that's basically dynamic pricing.
and they're like, "Oh, you mean if I go buy Wendy's at like 9 o'clock in the morning, I'm gonna pay like half price? I'll be there."
Exactly. It was all messaging. And I thought it was hilarious because I was like, yeah, the way you're describing it is, it does feel like, why would I have to pay more now as opposed to getting a deal at another time? I was like, you just messaged it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
They messed it up, dude. And then the other thing too is like, right, Wendy's never like runs out of demand or like hamburgers. So also, you know, where dynamic pricing tends to work is like stadiums or airplanes because it's like you have limited, there's only so many seats.
Yeah.
So as you get closer to your flight and there's fewer and fewer seats, like, well, you got to pay more to get that. They don't have that problem. But it's like, yeah, that was great. Anyway, sorry, that was a weird tangent.
Yeah, it kind of was weird tangent.
Dude, I mean, I almost want to start a podcast where we just talk about our vision for a Star Wars theme park.
All right, let's do that.
We'll do that on a different show. For our final shout out, I just wanted to thank everybody for all the kind words and birthday wishes. It was my birthday this last week, and I had a blast celebrating. And I got to celebrate with some of you guys in person, and some people gave me gifts. I'm not going to go through everything, but I just want to say thank you. It's always great to feel all the love. So, you know, it was a good birthday.
And I just want to say happy birthday to Dustin's wife, Steph.
Yes, happy. Well, I was going to say, so also it was my dad's birthday the day after me. And then it was my grandpa's birthday and then my sister's birthday, the 1 week from my birthday. So happy birthday to all of you. And then, of course, a very happy birthday to my beautiful wife, Steph. So
happy birthday to everyone in the Garbasiac.
Yeah, apparently.
All the Garbasiacs.
Yeah, so we have a, you know, very lively February. The only thing that was kind of a bummer is I didn't get to go to my favorite restaurant back in the Midwest, Hanayori, which
I know it's not there anymore.
Still amazing. It's a Teppan Steakhouse for anybody that was wondering. Essentially like Benihana, but not a chain. And here's the thing, CP. I actually went out there when I was back in Indiana in December, and interestingly enough, the portion sizes at Hanayori are still fantastic.
That's great, dude. I love that.
But here's the thing. I came back to California and went to Benihana, and I think Benihana was more expensive. And now they have like controlled portion sizes.
Yeah.
Like they put rice in a bowl and then like take the thing and like wipe the rice off. So you only get like the exact amount. And I was like, dude, give me the mountain of fried rice.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. It's like, why? Yeah, it sucks.
Prices, dude. They're not going down, Drucker. Sorry. Everything's just getting more and more expensive. So anyway, thank you, everybody. And CP, that does it for our shout out. So I'm going to send it over to you for our box office breakdown.
Thank you, D-Man. It is now time for our box office breakdown. So I have not been to the theater. I don't know about you. Actually, that's a lie. I ended up sneaking out and seeing The Housemaid last week.
Oh, nice. How was that?
It was actually super disappointing because it felt exactly like any other made for Lifetime movie you've ever seen, just with a budget that was like 15 times the, you know.
Yeah. Well, I think Steph and I are going to try to go. We want to go see that action movie Crime 101. That looked fun. Like that just looked like something that probably plays better in a theater than it coming to streaming and just watching in my living room. I'd have a better time at the movies.
Nice.
So we're going to try and go.
Alrighty. So, D-Man, last week, the number 5 movie, the romantic comedy Solo Mia starring Kevin James.
Okay. We talked about him at the Super Bowl sitting there all sad. Apparently that was great marketing, at least viral marketing. It worked. I don't know how much a Super Bowl ticket was, or even they had that block, like all the seats empty around him. Probably cost a pretty penny, but
yeah, that probably cost a lot to do that.
Still, it worked. I probably never would have heard of that movie except for the FCP box office breakdown. So
yeah, exactly. Number 4, Send Help. That was
Mm.
previously number one, and I've actually heard great things about it.
Yeah,
People
I've
told me
heard
it's
good things about that
exactly
too.
like original Sam Raimi stuff. They said it's a lot of fun. I have not seen it yet, but maybe I'll have to make a trip over there to check it out.
Nice.
Number three, as you were just talking about, Crime 101, and that
Okay.
just opened in the theater and made $15 million.
All right. For an action movie, I'm sure that's decent. I don't know what they were tracking, and I don't know anybody that's seen it. I haven't really heard anything
I don't
good
know
or
either.
bad. So if I
Number
do see
two,
it, I'll let you guys know.
yeah, number two, the film Goat. I didn't even know this was a movie.
I
It's
heard about it.
animated, but
Yeah.
I know nothing more.
If you've seen it, send us a comment.
And number one, opening last weekend, for Valentine's Day, and that is Wuthering Heights.
Yeah. I heard that's crazy. Isn't there all the sex stuff and
I don't know. I saw the trailer and I was like, you could not be marketing to the wrong person more.
yeah, it did not look like it was for me. And maybe that's a movie that you actually do want to watch in your own living room, not in a theater with a bunch of people, bunch of strangers around you. You're like, I don't know.
Yeah. So I don't know. I did see a funny thing where they blasted. Someone put out an article where they're like, whoever the guy in that movie is, they're like, oh, he just jumped to the lead of you know, um, the best possibility for the new James Bond, and I was like, I don't think so.
Uh, Hard to say. I don't know if those
I'm
line
not
up.
buying that. I feel like that's like a.
Have they said anything about Bond? I mean, are we getting another one? They've really been on hiatus now.
At some point we are. You don't spend all that money and then not make a Bond movie.
Yeah, who owns it now? Amazon?
No, no. Amazon owns a portion,
Oh,
a
okay.
small portion.
Gotcha.
That's kind of one of those cases of studios overpaying. So anyway, that is it. I mean, granted, it did have Margot Robbie in it, which
Yeah, there was that.
she's still totally a box office draw.
Well, it's funny because there was that famous video too talking about viral marketing of the actor in that movie giving his quote where he's like, "Hey, listen, how do you turn down being in a movie with Margot Robbie?" And then they like show a trailer for the movie, and you're like, "Damn, well done."
Yeah, and so it's made $148 million so far. So obviously, I think that was a good payday.
Yeah, that's in the black. That's a lot of money for a
Yep.
movie like that. Yeah,
Oh, 100%, dude.
nice.
100%. So that's the box office. Some new movies coming out this weekend that I'm excited about, and sure you are too.
Yeah, cool. I mean, dude, the lineup for 2026, even though, we're already a month and a half into the year, whatever, uh, the rest of the year looks absolutely incredible. It was so good
Except for
that,
Disclosure Day looks like crap.
dude, okay, first of all, here's the thing. I don't know if I talked to you about this, but I actually considered not renewing my A-list pass because you basically have to go like twice a month to the movies to like break even, kind of. I think you're technically winning at like two.
Yeah,
Because, dude, the movies are so expensive.
I know.
Speaking of Drucker, like it's Matic. It's like sometimes depending on the movie, it's like $20 without any discounts or anything.
I
I'm
know.
like,
It's
damn,
wild.
that's crazy. But I was thinking about not renewing my A-list pass, right? And then I went and looked up the lineup of movies for 2026. And I was like, there's no, I will go to the movies probably like 30 times this year. So I was
Yeah.
like,
You're not
easy,
worth it.
easy money. Yeah.
Math checks out. Yeah.
Yep. Because I mean, not like Disclosure Day. I know you think it looks like
I
crap, but
was only saying that to piss you off and you just ignored it. So
it did piss me off because I'm probably going to go see that movie like three times. I'm probably going to go see The Odyssey like three times. I'm probably going to go see Dune like at least a couple times because I want to try to see that with you and then probably uh go with like my cinematic fanatics group here. Like dude, I don't know how many times I'm going to hit theaters this year, but it's going to be nuts.
that's pretty sick, dude.
So get ready for D-Man to inflate the box office.
Well, you should, dude. We need you and everyone else in America out there watching movies in the theater. So studios quit thinking that it's, that no one wants to go to the movie. So yeah, do it.
I'll be there.
Dope. So, getting into the actual episode. So we actually had a whole episode planned out kind of in preparation for the upcoming Oscars. And yesterday, before we were about to record, D-Man and I both were sitting there watching USA women's hockey team win the gold. So
USA.
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 So we were just like, you know what? Winter Olympics are here. This is awesome. Screw everything. And we both went and watched Miracle. And that's what we want to talk about.
The Miracle on Ice, the 1980s, well, 1980 Winter Olympic men's hockey team that defeated the Russians and won Olympic gold in Lake Placid, New York. Was pretty epic and a story for the ages, dude. We still talk about it.
We still do talk about it. And that's what we want to dive into. So so that there is no confusion, we are not actually talking about the movie, The Miracle on Ice, produced for television from 1981.
Yeah,
we are talking about the 2004 film Miracle, which I know we have talked about this multiple times in the podcast when we have had episodes dedicated to sports movies. I think that it's one of my favorites. I know that it's not considered for a lot of people kind of in the upper echelon of what the greatest sports movies are, you know, Raging Bull, Rocky. But for me,
remember the Titans.
Yeah, right.
Oh, The Sandlot. No, I'm just kidding.
Mighty Ducks.
I think Mighty Ducks gets a lot of inspiration from Miracle on Ice.
It probably does. I've never thought about it, but it probably does. But I love the film. It's one of my favorite sports movies, mostly because the story is so incredible and they do a great job of capturing it.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that just really quick, when talking about like the whole Mighty Ducks connection, D2, the Mighty Ducks, is literally based on Miracle on Ice. I mean, they literally are Team USA versus Iceland. And it's funny though, because in addition to watching Miracle, we watched this documentary called I think it's called Miracle, the Boys of the 1980s.
Yep.
Yeah, whatever it is, of the hockey team. And so they have a documentary on Netflix that you can watch sort of as a companion piece to Miracle. So we watched both of them. And it was funny because they said that in the like collegiate era of the 70s, Minnesota like dominated the like national championship scene of college hockey, right?
Yep.
But the other team on the East Coast was Boston. That was like a rival, but apparently they were like I don't know, like hoity-toity like rich kids in Boston. So the Minnesota people called them cake eaters. And if you remember, they use that phrase in the Mighty Ducks.
So that's actually an insult in Minnesota to this day.
Really? Oh,
and I only know that because I dated a woman from Minnesota who called people cake eaters. And I'm like, are you just ripping off the Mighty Duck? And she's like, no, like that's what we call rich people.
That I didn't know that.
Wild.
I just always thought that was from the Mighty Ducks.
No.
What is it, Jesse?
Yeah. Apparently it's legit like Minnesotan slang.
That's incredible. Yeah, you're learning new things. But yeah, I mean, Miracle starring Kurt Russell, and he basically takes on the role of what's his name?
Brooks.
Herb Brooks. Yeah. So famous hockey coach, which is actually interesting because we were talking about he was the coach of the Minnesota teams winning national titles in the 70s, and then he took over the amateur U.S. Olympic hockey team in 1979 or whatever. They had like 8 months to prepare. But one of the things that was interesting is I don't know if you've went and checked out like his Wikipedia page or anything, but Herb Brooks, obviously he had great success at college and he had success on the Olympic scene, but he did coach in the pros as well. And he didn't have as much success.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's one of those cases of like a lot of those great college coaches. I think when they make the jump to the professional ranks, they don't ever seem quite as successful. And
Nick
I mean,
Saban with the Dolphins.
Yeah. Great example.
Yeah.
Urban Meyer with Jacksonville.
Yeah. That's
right.
Dude, what a dumpster fire that was.
And I think part of it has to be, and I mean, we saw this in the movie, right? When after the camp where they bring in all the players, people were mad at him that he was sending away some of the best players. And he's like, hey, they might be more talented, but they can't play within this system that we're creating for this team.
Yeah.
And I think that for some of those really good coaches who are system guys and can build a system and then move pieces in and out, it probably gets hard when you get to the pros and you just have people who are just like, I'm just the best. I play my way. And yeah, what are you gonna do about it?
Kind of. I mean, it's funny when you think about it sometimes because coaches get paid an awful lot of money, but they don't get paid what a QB gets paid. So, like,
No.
you're literally yelling at your QB and you're like, this guy makes maybe double what I make,
Yeah, right.
and typically, at work, but like the hierarchy of who's, above who is usually based on pay grade,
Kind
right?
of,
The
right?
higher up you are,
Yep.
yeah. Like, I don't
Yeah.
get, I think it's How I Met Your Mother. There's like the chain of screaming where like everybody screams down, but you never scream at your boss because you'll get fired, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. That's funny.
Not in sports. I guess you can yell at the highest paid guy on the team.
So in the movie, I think it's really interesting because the movie Miracle makes a conscious choice to focus on Herb Brooks as opposed to all the talented 20 something collegiate athletes who are actually winning the gold medal, right?
Now, by that, you mean like we actually get to like go home and meet Herb Brooks's wife in the movie. He talks about his family and his kids. But like the players, we never really see them outside of the context of the team and like hockey, maybe at a bar, but
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
still talking
but still
hockey.
they're as a team, they're always together. We don't get a lot of time really peeling back the layers on most of them. You know,
Yeah.
we don't really get to know them. We don't follow them home and see their emotional struggles. Whereas we do see that with Herb Brooks, where there's multiple times where he's like, "Hey, I don't know that we can actually beat the Soviets. I don't
Yeah.
know that I'm cut out to do this. I don't know that I'm, I didn't know it's going to be this hard to cut these guys that are working so hard to make the final roster. Like there are moments where we're really getting to see inside his head and be with him as a person. And I think part of that is obviously because they cast Kurt Russell, which is an awesome
I
casting
know.
decision. Like
Herb Brooks is
awesome.
literally, you're like, they're like the same guy.
Yeah, totally.
No, I don't know
Um,
Herb Brooks. I mean, it's interesting though, because they do talk about him in depth. So you're getting people's perspective on him. And unfortunately, if you didn't know, like I said, I went to Herb Brooks's Wikipedia page. He did pass away, I
yeah,
think in 2002 or something.
right around the time the movie was made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he ended up, unfortunately, this is crazy, but like he died in a car accident. Apparently he fell asleep and crashed his car in a single car accident. The medical examiner said he wasn't wearing his seatbelt, and if he had been wearing a seatbelt, he probably would have lived.
Yeah.
I'm
So
like,
shout out
damn,
seatbelts. Make sure you guys always buckle up for safety.
dude, you're going full Hulk Hogan right now. Cut a promo, you know, say your prayers and eat your vitamins and wear your seatbelt. There you go. You're welcome, Ivor.
Oh, amazing. Amazing.
Golden era there.
Yeah, so that kind of does suck. And obviously, especially since we've had a couple of really amazing documentaries, like the one that we watched, and we'll talk more about that. It would be really great to get some more insight into Herb Brooks
Yeah,
and his
well, I mean,
perspective on things.
I was gonna say, I'm like, it's interesting because they talk about him, and obviously he's not like here to defend himself, but a lot of the players, even I guess this documentary is taking place about 45 years after, so 2025 after the 1980 team,
Yeah.
and they're they're like, I was scared of him, like terrified of him. And one of the interesting things that's in the movie, and they actually have a clip of him saying this in the documentary, was that he was like, I am not going to be your best friend, or
Yeah.
I'm not going to be your friend. I'm your coach, and I'm here to push you and get the best out of you and make sure that everybody's playing at like, Olympic level athleticism. And I guess it's true, they sort of have a respect for him, obviously, but it sounded like, yeah, a lot of them were like, I kind of didn't like him.
Yeah. And and that is one thing that I think is great about the film, right? There is kind of this conscious effort a few times where him and Coach Patrick, the other coach of the team, Brooks kind of is. We're getting to see some of the sausage making going on, where he's like, "Hey, like I need these guys to hate me so that they come together. Like they can be unified around the fact that they don't like me, right?
Yeah.
It's them against me." And he plays that up multiple times. Like at the end of the movie, there's you know that very famous scene, which is also reiterated in the documentary, where he calls the injured guy a candy ass.
Oh yeah,
Right?
yeah.
He's like, get your gear back on, you candy ass. Like, oh, so you have a couple bruises, what a bait. And like, and it worked. And he motivated not just him, but the entire team to get out there and
Yeah, so the context is one of the players basically took a shot to his leg, and the team doctor had ruled him out for the rest of the game. But Herb Brooks goes to the team doctor and he's like, I mean, is he like, obviously that's the precautionary thing we should do, but we're in the Olympics. Like, if he goes out there and skates, like, he'll be fine. And the doctor's like, well, I guess technically, yeah, but like protocol would say he shouldn't
yeah,
go back out.
yeah, yeah.
Well, I think they're down at this point, and he goes
Yes, they
into
are.
the locker room, and in order to motivate the team, he just calls out this guy who played for him at Minnesota. So they actually sort of allude to this in the documentary, that Herb Brooks knew how to push his buttons.
Yep. Yep.
And he does exactly that and calls him a candy ass. And then in the movie, when he walks out, he says to the assistant coach, he's like, that'll get him going.
Great scene. So I think the decision to focus on him is great. It does come at the expense of actually the players. Obviously, the other really interesting thing about the movie is the end of the film is beating the Soviet team. It is not
Correct.
winning the gold medal.
Yeah, it's actually funny. So when I watched Miracle, Anthony, shout out, was here and we watched that movie together. And when they won, he was like, man, that was awesome. I can't believe they won the gold. And I was like, well, funny story. They actually have to play another game. I forget who they play. Was it Finland?
Finland, yeah.
They have to play one more game in the Olympic gold, championship. And I was like, he was like, really? I thought they won. And I was like, that's how big it was to beat the Russians, is that essentially, even 45 years later, that's the game people remember, not the gold medal game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and it was interesting. You actually brought something up when we were just talking before the podcast about how they were so like exuberant and excited having beaten the Russians that they were actually a little worried they might be low on energy going into the gold medal game.
And when they went into the gold medal game, they were actually losing for most of it against Finland
Yeah, that's
because
crazy.
America went wild. These guys and Herb Brooks, I mean, in the documentary talks about this, and he does this in the film very well. He kept them secluded from the media. No one knew who these guys were. They were a bunch of nobodies who all of a sudden they start winning as they get into the Olympics. And they beat the big bad Soviet Union, and everyone cares because this is during the height of the Cold War. And suddenly these kids become celebrities despite the fact that they still have their gold medal game to come.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy because you think about, like, you go back to just other sort of sports things. I remember watching The Last Dance, which was about, the Chicago Bulls and their rise, their meteoric rise to fame in the 90s. And I remember Michael Jordan saying when they finally got past the Detroit Pistons, they were so excited as well. They were treating it almost like they'd won. But he said basically they had so much energy that they basically carried it through a three-peat because they were like, it's our time.
Mm-hmm.
They were just ready to rock. And I say that because the documentary, not the movie, really highlights both USA Hockey was abysmal prior to the 1980 Olympics. They were pretty terrible. I think they'd only medaled once, and I don't even know if it was gold.
Yeah.
And the movie also doesn't really highlight how freaking dominant the Soviets were in hockey. They just sort of say it and then you just take it as fact, but like they don't show us them dominating other people either through like a B-roll montage of like their history, or even like in the documentary they show all these scores from the different games. And you think a hockey game is kind of like soccer often, you win maybe like 5-3 or something, they're beating teams like 14-0.
Yeah.
9-1.
Yeah.
Like domination. And it was interesting because I felt that the documentary really complimented the movie there, because the movie just sort of says it, and then you're like, we just assume they're the dominant. They're just that good.
Yeah, I totally agree.
The only thing that happens in the movie where we see their domination is the game prior to the Olympics when they play the Soviets. And I think that was the movie's way of showing us that. Right?
Yeah, I think you're right. And
they lose 7 or 10-3 or something.
10-3, which I actually, I think that was probably and I know there's a reference to this. There's a conversation between Coach Patrick and Coach Brooks, right?
Yeah.
But the problem is when you think about it, you're like, yeah, that was actually like a very smart move to save that Soviet, United States showdown till right before the Olympics, right? Because that game is literally just a fear buster.
Right. Yeah,
And I
that's
mean,
what
in
I
the
thought
sense that
watching it.
like, and cinematically, the film does a really good job. It's actually funny because when you watch the real highlight of them, the players are like kind of, Russian hockey players and American hockey players are kind of the same size. But
Yeah.
in the movie, these Russian guys are giants.
It's like monsters. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're like, that's exactly what it's like. And you're just like, wow, like, yeah, of course these guys are intimidating and they don't smile and they just crush the Americans in that first game.
And I think it did two things. And this is both within, the context of the movie and in real life. Like it allows the players to get out there and know that they can skate with these guys.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, also brush off the sort of awe of the Soviets. Don't be intimidated. And once you know that you can get out there and do things, you're like, oh, you know what? It's still just hockey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you wonder if they don't have that tune-up game against them. And then also maybe it gives the Soviets a false sense of security that they'll just dominate the Americans like everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
But you wonder if they didn't have that tune-up game, I mean, would America have beaten them or would they have been a little shell-shocked coming out? And by the time you recover, it's already too late. They've already destroyed you.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're absolutely right. I think the other failure in the movie is they play the tune-up game against the Russians. There's the international game that they play against Norway early
where they're
in the
like
film.
The guys are on the bench, like checking out the chicks in the stands.
Yeah. But there's apparently the actual team in the documentary says this played like 60 games in preparation. Nuts. And you don't really get that. So, I mean, they do pick that one game where they end up doing the suicides all night. And apparently that's a true story. And it's super powerful because I don't know about you, but every time at the end of that sequence, when he's like, oh, I'm Mike and I'm from Winthrop, Massachusetts, and I play for the United States, I always get teary eyed on that. I'm like, yes, America. I love
and
it.
if I'm not mistaken, they literally borrow that exact story for D2, the Mighty Ducks.
Right? Yeah. I think you're absolutely right. It's been a while since I've seen D2, but I think you're right on the money.
Yeah, they even in the movie, another comparison that stood out to me was in the movie, they actually have a scene where they're walking around Lake Placid, like the town, and the coaches walk by each other. And they do that in D2, the Mighty Ducks too, between Gordon Bombay and the Iceland coach.
You're right.
They're walking and they see each other just like at wherever they are. I don't know where they are, but yeah.
Yeah.
That was fast. I think they're in Los Angeles, right? In D2. Yeah.
Hilarious.
But I don't know. Gosh. I mean, that was cool. I think one of the things the documentary also does is it illuminated even more so the sort of theme of like USA versus Russia or the Soviets.
Yeah, all the political kind of stuff that really was building to this massive microcosm of the Cold War that this hockey game was is so downplayed in the movie for the sake of focusing on the sentimental aspect. But yeah, the documentary really dives into it.
Well, like I didn't know this, and this was fascinating to me. But even on this podcast, we've been doing USA chants. Apparently, prior to USA hockey in 1980, USA chants were not really a thing.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I just assumed for, all of the United States existence that people have just chanted USA. We fly our flags with pride and we have the Star Spangled Banner and fireworks and all this stuff. I just figured people, back in like 1800s, chanting USA just, through the ages.
Yeah.
I guess not. Yeah. Started in 1980. God, the 80s were the best. That's crazy.
Well, and Al Michaels talks about that in the actual documentary, how, just right before this game where all of a sudden people are waving their flags and chanting USA in support of, the national hockey team, like people are burning flags and protesting the government and the high unemployment rate and the fact that, there's, wars in Vietnam and stuff like that, like, just years prior.
Yeah. And that's in the movie essentially alluded to in the title sequence at the very beginning of the movie.
Yep.
They lay all that out, sort of set the time period. They're showing you all these news clips from the 70s where they're like, oh, high gas prices and homelessness and this and this and this. And then they, again, sort of the movie's like, we're going to focus on the hockey. That's just setting the stage. But they dive deeper into it in the documentary. And the theme of like, you know, the USSR or the Soviets versus America is also interesting because, you know, you do have, you know, at this time you have the Berlin Wall. You literally are at the height of like the Cold War. And this is like real tension. I mean, it felt like hearing people talk about it, that this was not just a hockey game. It was representative of so much more, you know, and, you know, the right team won and they went on to win the Cold War too. So.
Well, and I think the other thing that's really interesting, and there's a line about this again in the film, in the very beginning when they're talking, when Herb Brooks is interviewing about building the team at the start of the movie, but they really dive into it more in the documentary. And that's the fact that also hockey was not the sport that it is today.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's wild, right? Coming from the Midwest and like, I played hockey growing up. Like hockey's always been a big deal in my life, but like,
for sure,
they're like, it was like a regional minor sport at best in 1980. And I think that that's just so wild. And you have to wonder if like part of the explosion of the NHL, you know, reason why we got movies like The Mighty Ducks and things had to go back to the Miracle on Ice moment and just catapulting this into the zeitgeist.
It is funny because they say that like there were even some states that they're like generally speaking like they don't even have hockey.
Yeah,
like back then, like, you know, you go to Georgia, like there's probably ice rinks, but they're like they just don't have hockey.
Yeah,
like sports teams, even colleges, they just that wasn't part of the, you know, experience.
Yeah,
and I don't know. It is interesting. My teacher, I don't know if you knew this, Mr. DeKeever, my English teacher in junior year of high school, he was at that game.
No way.
Yeah, him and his dad went. And I was like, that's nuts. I wonder. And he told us this, you know, he went and elaborated on this whole story about.
We should have had him on as a guest.
I should have reached out to him. He's also an amazing English teacher. Like this guy challenged you. He's kind of like Herb Brooks. He's like the Herb Brooks of English. And that's probably where he got it. He was there at the game. He was inspired by Herb, and he's like, that's how I'm teaching English. No, but he like literally, dude, you'd have like a reading assignment, and he would ask you a question like on the spot, not like, you know, who knows the answer, and you raise your hand, and then he selects you. Like, no, he'd just call you out, like you're the biggest slacker, and everybody had to do their homework because he would call you out, and like if you didn't do the reading assignment and you don't know the answer that he's asking for, he would be like, no. We're not going to move on until this guy opens his book and finds it.
No.
And so you would just sit there like in silence while this kid's got to go look up the answer, you know, and to that end, like nobody wanted to be embarrassed like that. So it's like you always did the homework.
Dude.
And then to further that, dude, this guy, like, I don't know why I'm getting so into English right here, but dude, he used to have us read poems and stuff, and it was fascinating. Like part of that English class is probably why I love dissecting movies the way I do. Shout out to Mr. DeKeever. You're awesome. You know what's funny is everybody hated taking his class. And my sister, who's 9 years younger than me, and happy birthday again.
Yeah.
She actually got Mr. DeKeever, and she went to her guidance counselor and got transferred out because she was like, I don't want to take his class. And I was like, oh my God, you should take his class. You will come out way better for it, even though it's hard.
D-man.
So
can't believe it.
It would have been dope.
Steph took the easy way out.
Dude, we could start
Slacker.
a podcast with him and talk literature, and it would probably be the biggest podcast for books.
All right, let's do it. Call him up. Just shoot him.
Call him up.
Shoot him an email. Be like, Mr. D. Can we call him Mr. D?
I guess we can. He could be Mr. D. I'll be D man, and you can be a Big D.
All right, I'm liking this podcast already, D man. So
D.
last episode of FCP, everyone, join us for our new podcast, the 3Ds.
I know. I actually did email him once, so I probably have his email somewhere buried. I just emailed him one time, and I was like, "Thank you for teaching me all that stuff. It was great."
And he's like, who are you?
He responded though. He was like,
cool,
"Oh, I'm so glad." So anyway, yeah, he told us that he was at this game, and that energy, all of it, he was like totally real. Like it was. He was like, it was even more exciting than to be there in person than to watch the video of it or have watched it live. He's like, it was awesome. And I was like, dude, that's so sick.
That's pretty cool, man.
I know. I love when you get to see those sports moments, right?
Yeah.
It's just so magical. And it's one of the things that makes sports so special. I remember calling you one time. I think this is going all the way back to the 2000s, the first time LeBron was on the Cavaliers and he's playing the Detroit Pistons in the playoffs. And I think LeBron had scored like 10 straight points. And I'm like, oh, Christian, you got to turn on this game. And I think LeBron scored like 30 unanswered points or something. It was wild. Like and they won. Or you and I watched the Patriots versus the Giants.
Yep.
The first time, the one where Eli disappears into the huddle and then he comes out and somebody's got his jersey and then he gets away and passes this deep bomb. And I always remember your mom. She came into the room and she's like, did they win? Did they win? Of course, we're rooting against the Patriots. Like, easy.
Yeah.
And then she's like, did the Giants win? And we're like, not yet, but they're going to.
They're like, going to.
You don't make plays like that and then lose. We were like, the magic is real. They are going to win. And then they did. It was incredible. Still one of the best Super Bowl moments. But I say all that because sports lend themselves well to just movies and storytelling. It's such a simple concept for everybody to understand, right?
All right, explain what you mean. I like this. This is interesting.
As a story, it's like you have a sports team and they want to win the championship. You're like, that's your plot. And then all the players and the coaches and the opponents, they're your characters. And you layer a theme on top of that. But like very easily, a plot for a movie should not be very complicated. It should be like, did they win the gold medal or not? Did they beat Russia or not? And then you got to watch the movie to find out. And if they add incredible themes and characters and everything, it'll be amazing and memorable. But like, I'm not even talking about sports movies now. Like you could apply that to just general films. I think people, when they're writing, they overcomplicate or convolute their plots when really it should be pretty simple. Somebody gets trapped on a mountain. It's like, do they make it out alive? You're like, that is the plot.
Yeah.
You don't overthink it. I mean, there's lots of obstacles to making it out alive, but like, it's not hard. Yeah. And then, I don't know, whatever themes you want to do on top of that,
Yeah.
Like, what is it? Castaway. Does he get off the island? Did Wilson get off the, no.
Both of them did, but Wilson did not survive. Spoiler.
So sorry, Wilson. It's like, I don't know. I remember, I think you and I did a writers group one time. Do you remember that?
Yeah. That one in downtown LA.
Yeah. Like we went to this writers group and I remember they broke us off. We weren't at the same table, but basically they had like these professional writers there and they're hearing pitches from everybody at the table for a story that they want to write. Mm-hmm. And I remember the writer sort of stopping us mid explaining. And he was basically like, you guys are all pitching me premises. He's like, or maybe like world ideas. I want to tell something or, I have an idea for a story, but he's like, none of you are actually pitching me like the story, the plot,
actual
like
story.
What happened, and he kind of got into it. And I realized, I was like, dude, because I mean, you and I have written screenplays, both short films, and we have ideas for features and stuff. And I thought back to like you and I talking on the phone or anything. I'm like, oh, I have this idea for a movie. I was like, dude, I have pitched Christian many times a premise, but not a freaking plot, like not an actual movie.
Yeah.
And I feel like just in general, like sports stories, it's just so easy to pick up with a team that either did something magical or maybe even they failed. You think like the first Rocky, he doesn't win. Spoiler alert. He doesn't end up beating Apollo. And like, you don't have to win. It's just, the question is like, Rocky, it's like, does he beat Apollo Creed and become the champion? Yes or no? And then that's why you watch. Yep. And you're like, no, but Rocky learned so much along the way. And he showed all of us that, you can be this, guy off the street that can do, amazing things. Mm-hmm. And, it helps if you run up a lot of stairs. But Eye of the Tiger. No,
that's Rocky 3. You're mixing your Rocky movies.
I mean, they're all great. Dude, I actually just watched, I think Rocky 4. Spoiler alert again. Apollo gets punched to death, and
By Ivan Drago.
yeah, it's like really sad because this
Yeah.
guy's like, oh, he was like a weak bitch, and you're like, dude, that's Apollo Creed, man,
I know.
Mr. America.
I know.
Anyway, what are your thoughts? Like, do sports lend themselves well to just like basic storytelling conventions?
Okay, I was wondering if you meant my thoughts on, Drago killing Creed.
That too, if you want to indulge.
Obviously super sad because we all love Rocky 4 but that man, I wish all boxing fights had entrances like they do in Rocky 4 because those are incredible.
That was awesome. Doesn't he get like lowered down? It's like
he comes up through the floor.
He comes up. Yeah, he comes up. Yeah, that's what it is.
And Apollo comes in with the whole like living in America. Oh, it's hot. Anyway. All right. So if you haven't seen it, watch Rocky 4. Sports do lend themselves very well to movies. And I think it's because it's a very clear way to think about it. And I think part of the reason why as humans we love sports and we're drawn to them is the fact that it's very pure storytelling. And what I mean by pure storytelling is there's always an ending. There's a winner, there's a loser. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Now let's go beyond it. Is it a surprise ending or is it the expected ending, right? And then you can start layering on these different components. Okay, so we won, but now we have to go back and defend, right?
Yeah,
or
exactly.
we were it was expected that we were going to win this. So what does that mean, right? Sports have a definitive ending. After the game, there's a clear result for what happens. And based on the factors and the characters involved, that's how we start really tying into those emotional storylines that make films so powerful. Like, so for example, when we look at the example of Miracle, why is it a great story? Well, first of all, the US ends up winning it all. All right. Yeah, now when we pay it back, they were underdogs and they're fighting their geopolitical rival, the Soviet Union. These professional guys at the Soviet Union who played hockey together for 15 years and all they did was play hockey day and night versus a bunch of scrappy kids from
this is America. We love underdogs.
Yeah.
We love to be the rebels, dude. Even if we're the empire, we still see ourselves as the underdog.
And now let's take a step back. Now there's also personal investment, right? Herb Brooks, the last man cut from the 1960 Olympic team. This is his chance at redemption. And actually, that's one of the faults I will give the movie. I think the documentary does an awesome job of really kind of leaning into the fact that this was like a major emotional struggle for him and how hard it was to be the guy to then cut someone else's dreams and say, hey, sorry, man.
That's such a sad scene.
And in the movie, it's there and it's really quick, but in the documentary, right, interview when that guy's talking about like what it was like talking with Herb Brooks. For one, Herb Brooks is apparently a very different guy in this setting where like he, is visibly emotional about the fact that he's like, I am doing to someone the thing that like
happened to me.
Yeah, the worst thing in my life, I'm now doing to someone else. And I think that, from a character perspective, that would have been really fun to explore.
Yeah, they kind of hint at it. Like they have his wife say, like, I know why you have to do this. Basically, he never got to enjoy the celebration with, the team that won. And maybe I don't know, did they win gold?
I think they did. Yeah, they did. Because in the documentary, there's that story where apparently Herb Brooks is like, maybe it's Herb Brooks' son is saying this. He says that his dad turned to Herb Brooks's father turned to Herb Brooks and said, I guess they cut the right guy.
That's nuts.
Is
dude.
That's like,
wow.
That's a straight villain move.
Cutting line. That should have been in the movie.
Yeah, right.
Oh my God. That is nuts. I mean, it's true, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing to say that, right, if they'd cut somebody else, you wouldn't have won anyway, but damn, you're like, that is nuts. But yeah, I don't know. I agree with you, dude. I think part of the reason sports movies work so well is because they do have definitive endings. You can just answer that question. Did they win the championship or not? And I mean, and then you're like, was there, a redemption arc? Did somebody accomplish something? You know what I mean? It's just very easy to digest.
Yep. Yeah.
So I don't know. That's pretty cool. I wanted to say, I love the end credits in this. I always love a good, like, catch up with where these guys are now, which at that time wasn't like, so far along. Now we see them in the documentary that's like 45 years later, but in like 2003 when they filmed this, it's like, what is that? 20 years?
Yeah, 25
20
years.
Yeah.
23 years. Yeah.
So, tack another 20 on there. But you're like, you see these guys and they're like, oh, he's a used car salesman, or he went and did this. And then I always love in movies like this, particularly sports movies that are based on true events, you get to see what the guy actually looked like.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how close they kind of got it to the actor. So that was fun. And then I noticed too in the documentary versus they show each guy, they like put their photo from the Olympic team and then them today. And I'm like, you go back and everybody had that like floppy 70s hair.
Yep.
And like a mustache.
Yeah. And like a full on Fu Manchu mustache.
Yeah, they had it was dope. And then now everybody's like bald. Like, welcome to being a man 101.
Well, welcome to being a man in your 70s.
Yeah, you will bald. So I don't know. It was a lot of fun, dude, to watch the movie again. It's been a minute since I've watched Miracle. But it definitely hits the right emotional beats. Like you said, there's a few moments where you tear up, or I felt really bad for that guy getting cut. So, I mean, in a lot of ways. And then obviously when they celebrate, it's hard not to fist pump.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Fuck yeah. Yeah?
Well, I think the movie does a really good job of creating the case that they're massive underdogs, and then how hard these guys actually work to get there. And I think that's why it's so satisfying.
Yeah, it works well. Now, on that note, USA is playing Canada for the gold medal
on Sunday.
And the Canadians, I mean, damn.
They're like the new Soviets.
Thing. No, dude, don't say that. Yeah, Canada's our friend. We love you, Canada, but not in hockey. But
no, we hate you in hockey. Sorry, guys.
Well, didn't they boo in the last time they met? Like the Canadians booed the American national anthem. You're like, damn.
Yeah.
But on that note, it's USA versus Canada, and that, Canada is like, boom, this is our thing, our pride. I'm sure they want to kick our ass and claim that.
Especially after we just beat the Canadian women's team.
Yeah, so I'm sure they are extra motivated. But did you know, because this game is over in like, where is this? Milan,
Italy
or something? Yeah, Italy. The game out here on the West Coast is going to be at 5 a.m.
I did, but I'm going to get up to watch it.
I think I'm going to get up and watch it. After watching Miracle, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go put on my American flag tank top. And then, I'll probably need a hoodie because it's cold right now. But like, let's go.
Are you going to crack a beer?
Fuck it. Yeah.
Yes, do it.
Dude, I got to show you this. Check this out.
Yeah.
For people that can't see, my grandpa got me this hat, but it's an American flag with my last name on it.
That's pretty BA.
This is the hat I'll wear.
You should wear it. That's a great hat.
I know.
That's a very pro USA men's hockey hat.
You know what? Now this is going to be my thumbnail for our post. It's going to be with my hat.
Do it.
I'm a hat guy, so that's amazing. Yeah. But all right, CP, unless you have anything else to add to this discussion, I mean, that's really what we wanted to talk about this week.
This was
USA.
This wasn't really like let's analyze this film. This is more like, hey, something awesome happened. Again, shout out to the USA women's hockey team. Thank you for kicking ass. That was a great game, by the way. And if you haven't seen it, you should totally watch it, because it's one of those games that if you don't really like hockey, it would totally get you pumped about the sport.
Well, here's the thing, CP, I'm a little bummed because I kind of wish we did this before the Olympics, because now I'm like jacked up on it, right?
I know.
So like if we had done this episode like maybe 2 weeks ago, I probably would have watched a shitload of hockey.
I mean, I did, so I'm not in the same boat as you. But yes.
But I feel like if I had watched Miracle and then obviously the Mighty Ducks right after, dude, I would have like been watching all the games, like cheering on America for, not even just the American games. I probably would have watched all the games I could.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely.
Like I said, I've had the Olympics on and it's cool, but like I wish I'd just been like jacked up, ready to go, drinking beers at 5 a.m. with my American flag hat.
Well, don't worry. We will be.
It's still in the cards.
Yes. No, you're totally right. I guess my last point on it is, if you're really into learning more about the Miracle on Ice, 30 for 30 did an awesome documentary. It's called Of Miracles and Men, which takes a look at the U.S. men's hockey team and the Soviet hockey team and gives us a little bit more about what the loss meant for them and like the repercussions and the fallout back in the Soviet Union. So it's kind of an interesting look.
That's nuts, because you think about some of the stories, like you remember, I think it was like the Colombian soccer team when it was owned by, Pablo Escobar, and like down in Medellin, and like I don't know, if they like missed a goal, they like cut off their hand or murdered people and stuff. I was like, dude, that's crazy. And you have to wonder, like Russia, I'm not saying anybody like went down. Obviously they did a documentary on it, but I'm sure you go back and they're like, you have disappointed Mother Russia.
Yeah. That's how people get shipped up to Siberia.
Yeah.
No, that's not for this podcast.
Oh, okay.
That's for a different one.
Well, I wanted to say to all our listeners, thank you for tuning in. And this is the last episode of Filmmaker. No, I'm just kidding. It's not. You can catch us over at Triple D's. No, Filmmakers Compass podcast will be back. But I had a lot of fun talking the Olympics and the Miracle on Ice with you, CP. And I hope all of our listeners enjoyed the conversation. So be sure to keep it going and leave us some comments or shoot us a message. Excited to hear your thoughts. And if you haven't already, you can follow the show at Film Comp Podcast or at Film Comp Pod on Instagram. And then obviously we have filmmakerscompass.com has a feed of all of our past episodes and the social media links and stuff. So check us out there. But you can follow me at Big Kid D-Man and CP.
And you can follow me at NDCal5. Thank you for hanging out and talking movies with us. We will see you back here next week. And until then, I want to see y'all get up at 5 o'clock to watch the U.S. men's hockey team.
We'll do a live chat. Keep watching movies.
Boom.
Hey, I finally got to say it.
Finally. Last time.